Hello there, great person, and welcome back to Let's Watch Warhammer 40K and dive into it. Last time we stopped halfway through the video about the Chaos Dominion and all the creepy crawlers and demon at things that came with it. We learned the Nurgle song that he uses while cooking, and yeah, that's basically not all of it, but that's some of the main stuff I got from it. Though there were many great comments that pointed out some more stuff, like that the medieval stuff is not the lore they're going with currently, so that's fine, that's great. Like, that was the part that irked me a bit, and that was the first part as a whole in all the videos that irked me a bit, because that was too tame. Like, I know medieval times are, but anyway, let's get going. Let's get started with the rest of the video and enjoy the way through the Chaos Dominion. And of course, if you like the original video, make sure to go there. It's linked in the description, like it. And if you like this video, like it as well, share, and of course subscribe for more content. But we will now start our exploration that goes on now. Whatever, let's go.
For Khorne, endless physical conflict is as old as the mortal realm. It never ceases, it never calms. The struggle between mortals is eternal. With Tzeentch, the endless instability of mortal affairs leads to endless change and struggles for power. Nurgle, the god of all, is strengthened continuously by the inevitable decay, misery and death that occurs constantly throughout the galaxy. As for Slaanesh, in its simplest and most innocent form, it is only the pursuit of happiness and to better oneself. But following further down this path leads to corrupting desire, that little by little eating away at a mortal desire from the inside.
Okay, first off, that woman looks too normal. That's creepy. Like, all the dudes have like augmentations and are effed, and like Nurgle's guys are just fat and ugly and distorted, mutated creatures, and she's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm a normal visit woman. Great, great, great. And I'm gonna kill you." Probably, I guess. So that's pretty interesting. And also, what I was wondering about, and I wrote it to some of you in the replies, but I'm not that sure, because some of the gods seem to intersect. Like, Khorne is change. Was Khorne change? No, Khorne was war. The Tsukish, the change god. Like, change is also like war in a way, because war is done for change sometimes. So, okay, perhaps not. Perhaps Khorne is more like this more animalistic war, and the other is the calculator. Whatever. Anyway, let's go. Yeah, this chick here is very unsettling. Yeah.
To gain a little bit more pleasure each time. Indeed, perhaps the happiness and pleasure is gained not even by the end result, but maybe in the acts themselves, requiring them to be a little bit more each time. It is a creature that is fueled by the latent inability of mortals to be content.
Okay, space
Glory,
pirate woman.
wealth, success, physical desires, all of these lead down a path to Slaanesh, where only damnation awaits.
That is also true. I think from a psychological and neurological perspective, that's true, because as far as I know, you get used to stuff. Like, when you're I think it's an alcoholic, might be substance users as well, but if you're an alcoholic and you take your stuff, you have to take more and more each time, because you have to keep the level, and then you get used to the level, and you have to increase it, to increase the level. So that's pretty on point, unfortunately. And yeah, these ding-dongs seem to be Nurglers. They are from Nurgle, because this dude is definitely Nurgle. We've got an old Lovecraftian tentacle here, seems to be Nurgle, and whatever the frick this is also Nurgle. So yeah.
Through the ever-changing shift of power in the Great Game, one of the gods may become dominant over the others for a time. Their absolute goal is to have total domination over the Immaterium, a goal which by the very nature of their own limitations is essentially unattainable. So they, and the warp being that it is their dominion, is in a state of endless chaos. If one of the gods ascends to a position of dominance over the others, then the weaker forces may temporarily not so much ally as more work together toward the same goal of toppling the most powerful god at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense as well. It's like primates. Like if you take a primate group and you've got a very, very strong primate that's like violent and he like hits people to get to the top, then two or three others will like backstab him. Like not literally, like they will not use knives, they will use sticks and stones or fists, but they will basically backstab that guy. So, that's why power like this power by dominance alone is very, very unstable. And I guess this makes sense here as well, which is cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
To perhaps simply not pay more attention to the others and then later return to endless power plays as they fight each other to claim their position of dominance. Warp storms that periodically sweep the Immaterium are a direct result of the Chaos Gods battling each other in their ethereal planes. Armies of demons may
okay.
battle each other within the warp or the mortal galaxy as they vie for control to inflict relative damage to the power of the other gods.
We've got weirdos again. I mean, these are Nurglers as well. Like, whatever. Like, what is this? Looks like a Spider-Man. Yeah, he said Spider-Man. No, I don't mean that Spider-Man. I mean this spider creature thing with too many teeth, too many tongues, of course. And yeah, what's his problem? Like, does he have a like why? What is that? And he has got two rows of teeth. Like, he's a shark being related to sharks? Don't know. It's so weird. The Nurgle things are so weird. If these are not Nurgle things, please correct me. But they look like Nurgle things. I don't know.
These ongoing wars between the powers are endless cycles of repeating conflict, temporary cooperation, backstabbing, betrayal, and corrupt conspiracy and exploitation of any sensed weakness and opportunism. Humanity and races such as the Eldar love to bathe in their own egotistical self-importance, and so the endless skirmishes, incursions, and conflicts within the forces of chaos to them must feel like a directed and focused effort from their chaos gods to ruin and obliterate them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how it looks. It looks like there are sentient things, but someone as well pointed out, and I think that's also a very, very cool idea. And I would have to think more about it, but I would perhaps even be on the same page. And that you might say that the Chaos Gods don't exist as like singular minds, but they're like the collective of demons that birth them, and they birth the demons. Like they are the same and different. You know what I mean? There was a cool idea in the comments there. Also, we have the Joker-like things back, and they are supposedly Harlequin. I remember that name because it sounded like Harley Quinn, and I think Harlequin is also a English term for these fools like people things in more medieval ages. I guess. Yeah, so it fits, and they might be more good than others. I don't know, but we will get to them when we have finished these factions. But let's just see what. Oh yeah, and they've got the pharaonic looks here, so they might be. Are those Necrons? Like, is this a Necron or is this some kind of space marine? Might be space marine. Whatever. Let's see what else the terrible chaos gods have.
In truth, these battles are far from a concerted effort by the Chaos powers to destroy the mortal races. In fact, these engagements are really more like spillage, the splashes and bleedings that exude from the far more severe and ongoing struggle between the gods themselves in the Immaterium.
Oh, look at the big things in the background.
With all of that said, there are periods where, for the briefest of moments, the Chaos Gods will turn their eye to the mortal real space and pierce it with a plan of evil consciousness. These moments of attention for the gods can represent devastating battles for survival for mortal civilizations.
Oh, hello,
An opportunistic
Diablo.
warp opening here, a summoned possession there. These gateways will often unleash a host of demons of whichever power first became aware of the opportunity. It's demons lavishing the chance to slaughter and or corrupt the mortal vessels that await them across whatever plane they happen to find themselves upon. On the rare occasion that the powers sense something has dangerously allied against them, or a force has risen that poses a genuine threat to their existence, this is when you may see the most dangerous of allegiances, known as Chaos Undivided.
Chaos Undivided. That's pretty cool. And they look like Space Marines, I think, but with demonic horns. Why? Like, I know we've heard last time that some of the the lost legions during the Horus Heresy have apparently changed or been corrupted by chaos, at least 4 of them. So this might be their Space Marines. I don't know. But Chaos Undivided, yeah, like Chaos has to destroy the order that tries to arise, like Order of the Empire, Order of the probably the Necrons and the Tau. I'm not so sure about the Elder because the Elder are pretty much effed. So, but yeah.
It's fairly self-explanatory, and considering that even at the worst of times in the
Why
ordinary
is there a
galaxy, the ongoing
dinosaur?
problems of chaos are only a small amount of their attention, you can barely imagine the danger and threat that the combined forces and attentions of the Chaos Gods represents.
This thing, I saw it before, but I didn't want to pause too much. But this Titan thing, this Elder Titan thing, that looks badass. I don't know what this reminds me of. It's like such a sleek design. I love it. Like these thin robotic arms and stuff. Very, very great design. And the crocodile dinosaur thing, of course. Like, why? Looks a bit orcish though, because I know the orcs. I've seen these stripes on orcs, like these what would you call them? These stripes for construction work or whatever. I'm not sure how to describe it, but yeah.
As mentioned, the rise of the Emperor was one such occasion, and it nearly led to the entire destruction of humanity. However, as soon as such matters are resolved, the gods will immediately use that momentary lapse to attempt to exploit the others. This in part explains why at the end of the Horus Heresy, the forces of the traitorous Space Marines of Chaos were so quick to flee, collapse and retreat.
Wait, did they infight here? Did they infight? Because they look like demons, and they look like demons. Like, they look like Hellraiser fellows. This one, I don't know, looks like a... Is that a cow with a crown? I don't know. And then we have these very diabolical, classical demon-looking demons. Like, this seems to be a fight again, like one faction against the other. Very interesting. I wonder how often that happens. Like, does that happen once a millennium or like every day or for lunch? They do that, you know.
Of Chaos were so quick to flee, collapse and retreat. It seems fair to assume that with the death of Horus and the near-fatal wounding of the Emperor to the point he became a far more ineffective entity for mankind, the gods of Chaos likely snapped their attention back towards their own conflicts in the warp and away from the trivial conclusion of the devastating heresy war during the period of scouring.
Oh well.
All of this brings us to a fairly common question though. Why are there no positive gods in the Immaterium?
Yes.
If a sentient being's emotions and desires, as well as their general conscious or unconscious feelings, form the entities within the warp, then it stands to logical reason you would surely see positive creations, as well as these very negative ones, correct?
No. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The only one you could argue for, I think, would be love. Though that would be very superficial and short-sighted, I feel, because what is love? There are 2 kinds of love, at least neurologically. And those are love like something like, no, there are 3, actually 3. So there is love and like in social, like you have something you might label that love, like playing together, having fun together. Like bonding socially, that might be interpreted as love. You might have this kind of Slaanesh love, which is of course, yeah, very, very, what would you say? Very, very, very visceral love. Perhaps that's a good, perhaps that's a good description. And then you have care, like motherly love, and all of them in abundance can be pretty bad, I think, because it makes you blind in the best case, and it makes you incredibly violent and evil looking, like for other perspectives. On the other hand, like take motherly love that a grizzly like mauls you and rips you apart when you go to her cubs. It's motherly love. Is that a positive emotion? I think there's a lot of terror associated with that. Also, like love in groups, love in social orders, like your friends group. I mean, that might be okay, but if you have like loyalty and companionship that goes too far, then you have something like people did in Poland in 19, you know what? Because that was in many places mediated by societal love for each other, which is quite perverse, I think. But that was the case. And I mean, for the last thing, I don't have to reiterate on that. I mean, that's pretty clear. So, is there even a good emotion? Is there a good emotion that doesn't make you blind and extreme if it is there in abundance? Like, what would that be? What would that even be? What would a state of positive emotion you are in be? Like, if you're in a state of positive emotion, I think you're dead, because you won't strive for anything. You will stop. You won't need to live anymore. There is, like, if you've reached the goal of positivity, you're dead. Why would you live? And that's harsh. Like, that's a harsh thing, but I think without evil, you cannot strive towards good, which makes, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I would not know of a positive emotion they could have here that's so positively powerful. Like, there might be little shards of goodness in the chaos, in the warp. That might be. And chaos gods might do things that might look good if you look at it from a certain angle. Like, I don't know, war if there are tyranids. You know, if there's what's his name, Korn. If there's Korn and he's like very strong and leading against tyranids because he wants to fight them, just fight them. You could argue that he's good there for a moment. Like, good and bad are very, very strange and hard to define and grasp categories. So yeah, long story short, I've rambled enough. I don't think there is an overabundance of good that's like beneficial to life, which is something mean perhaps to say, or something like very sad to say. Like, it's good that there are good things. I think the important thing is that there is strive for good through chaos and darkness, which is perhaps the point. Perhaps these gods are for that, so that you always remember there's also good. I don't know. Anyway.
This is generally speaking best marked as one of those things we could class as poorly defined or just not well understood. We know that there are lesser entities out there in the warp, and that it's reasonable to assume that they are just relatively unapparent or smothered by the presence of more powerful chaos gods.
Yeah, what I said.
Some, of course, even going so far as to speculate that the Emperor himself is potentially a positive godlike creature. He is, after all, an anathema to the Chaos Gods. It also raises further questions like, do the Chaos Gods truly represent darkness and evil? Or is
No, they don't. No, not darkness and evil. Overabundance of stuff. And I don't think the Emperor is good. I think you could argue that he's good for humanity and doing the right things in the end for the greater good, you know. But then you can say he's evil because he like the, what were they called, death guards? You know, the ones he betrayed for the greater good. You could argue he was evil there, even though you could also argue he was good. Like, it's not. Why would you categorize it as this even? I don't think that makes sense. Like, it would make sense to try to approach it, but I don't think it leads you far. So,
is that a subjective human definition?
Yeah.
The Chaos God Tzeentch, for example, revels in change and disruption, and whilst it's true you can make a connection of change and disruption being a negative thing, another view would be that it simply represents an opposing position of order and stability. Do we attach automatically the concept of evil to this? It's true that within the Chaos Pantheon, their followers and wars cause devastating suffering, but arguably no more than any other race in the far future. And humanity itself is no beacon of purity and innocence when it comes to such things.
Yeah,
it's worth remembering as well that without the depraved selfishness, violence, and all the worst traits of mortal races, the Chaos Gods wouldn't even exist. So it's hard when you really think about it to ascribe that they are mindlessly evil. If anything, the Chaos Gods are a reflection of mortals as they peer into the ocean of the warp with their souls. With so much of what occurs in the galaxy of the far future, humanity will and has always attached unobjective, even irrational emotions and fears to events or individuals. It's what enables them to be perceived as being fundamentally good or bad. The Xenos race of the Orcs are a good example, often seen by humans to be foul, war-hungry, yes, even evil creatures bent on mindless destruction, brutal horrors, carnage, and slaughter without end. But with further study, we know this not to be exclusively true. Orcs are not evil because they're not driven by some higher premeditated grand plan. They
Yeah.
operate by design and instinct, and within that you could also include the Tyranids, who
Ooh.
operate with much of the same core drives.
Yeah, I agree. I agree so much with what he says. He's basically saying what I said. I feel, but if he's not, like, if I was a bit off there, it's basically, yeah, because that's also the thing. Good and evil are luxurious things to have when you live in peace times. Like when you live in war times, what is good and evil? I think you could probably define stuff there as well. And like, but I'm not gonna try that here because it would derail the thing. But I think I would have ideas how to do it. But when there's only war, which is always said in the beginning of these videos by the great Luetin, yeah, why would you have good and evil even? It's useless. Like, I'm a pretty pragmatic person, so I think, like, in the war times, good and evil is useless if it's, again, like, survival is the thing you have to measure everything by. Like, every action has to be like, will it lead to survival of myself or the race or not? And you don't have the luxury to do anything else. So yeah. And by the way, these tyrannid things here in the sky, great. And if you want a tyrannid video next, you still have some time to vote. But currently, Dark Elder wins, so have fun with that on Friday or Saturday. So yeah.
Depending how
Anyway,
far along you want to go with this, it can become significantly complicated and very philosophical. Ultimately, we view things with a human point of view, but the key thing to understand is that chaos is not as simple as it being bleak, darkness, or evil.
yeah, of
That is
course.
a humanistic projection overlaid onto it. In some respects, elements of the Chaos Gods and what they represent are actually positives, depending on your point
Oh, that
of
looks so
reference.
badass, like
And in saying
Bloodborne.
this, I can feel Imperial Inquisitors heading my way with increasing urgency.
I like the design of the Demon Hunter there, or whatever it was. It looks so much like a Bloodborne person.
Truly, though, this is where
Oh
things are slightly
God! Oh
contentious.
God! What
It's
are you? Sorry. What is this? This is an old beast man coyote. Why are these things here? And I think it has wheels. It has wheels and not feet or a sluggish body. This dude's like hovering and change and burning. I mean, I hope he's not in too much pain. And then yeah. Like, what is this thing? This looks so weird. Or this might also be a snake tail. Perhaps it's a snake tail. Perhaps this is a Medusa-like thing, although it doesn't have snakes for heads, but whatever.
It's never, to my knowledge, expressly explained about the morality or the positive negative aspects of the Chaos Gods. There are subjective interpretations and quotations, and arguably it's just a matter of perception.
Yeah,
We could,
it
for
definitely
example,
is.
look from an orc's perspective. A god like Khorne, that is a concentrated expression of violence and bloodlust, would not look dark, evil, and abhorrent. For an orc, Khorne would look pretty positive, appealing, energizing even. Now, of course, were it not for the fact that orcs have their own gods, Gork and Mork, I would never have any
Gork
interest in
and
following
Mork.
or worshipping chaos.
Someone just made that up by going over the keyboard. Gork, Morg, yeah, let's go. I can't wait for the orcs. I already have pulled the video up in another tab, but it sounds so funny. Gorg and Morg, why? It's like all this serious stuff about philosophy and demons and good and evil and questions to ponder on, and then you have orcs that have thoughts called Gorg and Morg and whatever.
On the other side of the coin, to some ordinary, non-superhuman citizens, extreme violence, bloodlust and death is perhaps shockingly not so positive or appealing. Are the
Yeah.
Chaos Gods truly evil, or do they simply represent a balance of combined expression, where from a
Wow,
human
that looks so
perspective
cool.
the negative aspects are much more pronounced?
That looks so good.
Khorne, for example, is known by some to also represent honour and courage. Tzeentch, while change can be a negative, can be a positive. Nurgle, while in this time undoubtedly it's slanted more towards horrific plague and mutation, yet it also to one degree can be about rebirth and even salvation.
Yeah.
And Slaanesh, while all about dark and hedonistic excesses, is also about life and positive experiences, albeit for yourself. Some few would even go so far as to suggest that Slaanesh can represent love. I would imagine this to be
Yeah.
more of an all-consuming love, though, that makes someone behave dangerously and irrationally. But
Yeah, not necessarily, because perhaps that's also part of Slaanesh. You just don't see it because the like strong things of Slaanesh like override the weaker ones.
Love, nonetheless. Chaos and the
Yeah.
Chaos Gods can be not only about
Oh
destruction and
man, the poor
horror, but
sword.
about the exploration of the further realms of experience. They are the edge of the expanse of consciousness and exist beyond the limits of human imagination. To this end, can you
Ah,
ever really
why?
say you would understand such beings or be able to comprehend what they could offer, what they could show you, or how this would alter your perception? I think, to quote another explorer
Yeah, you
beyond the
look
mortal
weird
world,
and not at
the
all
Chaos Gods and their
possessed.
domains are seen as demons to some, angels to others.
Yeah, I can see that with the angels. Like that makes sense. Also the change part, like that's so cool. A bit of a side track perhaps, but that is also there is a concept in Bleach, the anime, that deals with this change and standing still aspect. It's my favorite part of Bleach, I think, and I love that. Like, yes, change. You need change because either if you don't have enough change, you die because you can't adapt to anything, and if you have too much change, you like mutate and like just forget yourself. So I really like the way he analyzes it. It makes a lot of sense. It is a lot more nuanced than just evil demon gods things. So that's what makes it scary because they are in part understandable, but not in the way you would want them to be understandable. That's also scary, and I love that. I love that about horror. If there are things like if there are horror things that there are so alien and foreign and catastrophically evil, and you understand what they're about at the core of it, and you understand that, yeah, that you, like, you get it, like this weird getting it, and that's so scary as well. I love it. And yeah, what's with her? Like, she looks like a zealot. I mean, fine, if she wants to worship whatever. It's Siege. I will get the name of that one. Like the others, I already know, but because it has too many E's in it. So yeah, yeah, like angels to others, of course. Like it's also vice versa. Like in the Bible, angels are pretty scary, like pretty scary, and they bring order. Like bringing orders can also be quite scary. Like the emperor. The emperor brought order for a time, and that was horrific for some more primal societies. So yeah, very good, very well written stuff.
Devout members of the Imperium's ecclesiarchy would say that these arguments are made by ruined and corrupted chaos cultists
Oh, of
who are
course, she's
trying to
got a
merely
whip.
rationalize the dark powers of the warp. It's also possible, though, that from a human perspective, positive gods still emerge in the warp, or even that they always have, but perhaps they're simply nowhere near as powerful as the other entities that exist there and are crushed and obliterated before they have a chance to grow. If you want to really get to the core of this, though, it's humanity's own self-delusions about positivity being as much or more prevalent than negative traits.
Yeah, and also something I just realized is that most positive things that like don't go out of hands are very personal. So it might just be strong love from from one person. You know what I mean? And that won't override the collective subconsciousness. So of course, yeah, it's another, yeah, and another reason for them not being this prominently featured, like the positive gods.
Whilst it's true that most humans aspire to have positive aspects in their lives, you need to look at the larger picture and start to consider if the collective positive experiences are really that substantial or powerful in the grand scheme of things, or are they just more like positive background radiation in terms of their influence to the warp? If you think of emotions and self-expression as needing to be of sufficient strength to essentially register in the warp, it helps to explain why, when you look at the creation of the Chaos Gods, they only generally seem to occur after significant periods of sustained,
Yeah,
powerful, often traumatic, and
yeah.
not just ordinary but extreme emotions and expressions. We see that these resonated with enough strength to enable them to be able to come into a state of sentience. This to me suggests that it is only the most powerful feelings, or those on the edge of the spectrum of emotion, that registers and contributes to the warp most significantly. While
Of
positive feelings
cultures.
like family bonding, loyalty, honour, appreciation of art and beauty, and of course love and devotion can be powerful in moments, Do those situations happen more often and in significant strength to counterbalance the generally more regular and arguably more powerful negative aspects of pain and suffering that
Yeah.
are and always have been so widespread? So again, I say it's worth noting that the Chaos Gods only begin to appear after a significant period of fairly extreme, concentrated outpouring of consciousness and suffering before they were able to consume this power and come into being.
Yeah. Yeah, and someone in the comments said, and I really like that idea that, like, I only remember the argument made for Korn, but that Korn was created in the war in heaven. Because it was just a war, like a lot of war, you know? And that the and someone as well brought up the idea that like every race that went down had one aspect that made them fail, and that manifested into a chaos god, which is very great. I loved that. That was so good. Like very, very well made argument as well. So I really like these ideas that you people also have. Like all of you guys are having so many great ideas and views on this. It's very, very refreshing to get additional views there in the comments every time. I love that. So anyway, let's go.
Once they reached this critical massive emotive energy that allowed their creation, they simply needed to just continue on while the endless emotive energy would continue then to sustain their needs. It was enough that they had been created and would then just exist until the later periods in human history where their strength would become significant after the huge levels of horrific destruction that would befall mankind. Essentially, it would have taken or would take a very, very powerful, consistent act of positive consciousness to bring a true positive God into existence within the warp. And that is very unlikely given the current state of mankind in the 42nd millennium or any time previous.
Yeah, I agree. Why, by the way, why are there these albino women? Is that some sort of genetic lineage that is that a chapter or whatever of the Space Marines that all have like albino genes? And yeah, I think she had blue eyes, so it might not be albino, but she had white hair, or like several, like these angel women with the Space Marine armor had white hair. Is that like, what are they about? Like, just give me briefly the name or something. I will, like, we will get there. I have so much content still to cover, and I can't wait for it. But just give me the names so I like can place the whatever they are.
Of course, there is also just the even more simple rationalization that the warp for whatever reason is just more receptive to what we define as negative emotions and their associated actions than positive for whatever reason.
I don't think so.
In relation to how we perceive the warp, one thing that I think is a mistake to envision is negative forces as dark and positive forces as light. That is something always projected onto them. This is an age-old description, and it's like so many things overly simplistic and a part of humanity's embedded cultural delusions. We love to rationalize things in human terms. To visualize bringing light into darkness is always going to prevail.
Yeah, but no. I never liked that. I always thought that was very short-sighted, because angels are ultimate order, like keepers of ultimate order, and ultimate order, you know, that already sounds bad. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and angels, like I said in the Bible, like angels are so weird. They look so weird. Like the lower angels are like normal people, I think, but the higher ones, the seraphim, the archangels, they are these weird wheels with eyes and mouths and very eldritchy, very, 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 very creepy. And like there are so many stories as well where angels are the big bads. Like best one I can think of is Bayonetta. I think their angels are bad. But there are others. Like I love the idea of bad angels. Oh yeah, his dark materials. You could argue that the order of angels is bad. Like the main army of the angels is very bad because of the same things we've already talked about here.
It's simple to imagine because it's an ancient illustration from a time in human history where these visualizations were designed to easily illustrate two opposing perspectives. to demonstrate to people that the
That
righteous
looks
power
so cool.
and the side that they needed to align themselves with, to show them the positive aspects
Where's your arm,
nullifying the
mate?
negative ones. Light overpowers or pushes away the darkness. However, if you
It
want
blinds.
to continue along with that thinking, you might also imagine that light may hold back the darkness, but that it never truly extinguishes it. Darkness is always there, waiting, and as soon as the light weakens, the darkness begins to creep in, to bleed into the edges of a room, to encroach and allow pockets of darkness to exist. Those small areas of darkness, who knows what they
He looks
hold,
cool.
and if the light dwindles or is extinguished, darkness will envelop what remains and dominate that space.
Also, you have to be careful not to confuse darkness and chaos. Like, chaos is potential of destruction and creation, and darkness is just the opposite of light. Like, chaos is far more than darkness. Like, light and dark are born from chaos and return to chaos as far as mythology goes. That's always the way. Like, chaos is more primal, a lot more primal aspect and force, so I really like that. And it fits here as well. Like, there's probably like light bringers from chaos, like these demon darkness creatures from chaos, but in the end, it's all from the chaos and its potentials.
The best summation is that a lot of perceptions are informed by realities that they themselves have individually experienced or been taught. There's undoubtedly also plenty of projection occurring, with people assigning negative traits to chaos. In reality, the gods themselves will not perceive nor be concerned by definitions so entirely human. One thing is for sure though, once the gods began to be aware that the activities of mortals outside their realm could imbue them with strength, and thereby enable them to carry more strength into their great game, they became far more interested and proactive in influencing events in the material realm.
They are not just having
This is
fun.
where the followers like cultists, Astartes traitors, and demons fit within the realm of chaos. They are the labourers of the gods, and their acts are always only to benefit their masters. Still,
Yeah.
followers of chaos are not only those who can benefit from the realm. It is in fact suggested that the Emperor gained some knowledge by travelling through a gateway to the realm of the all-powerful chaos gods, apparently appeasing them
Oh god,
with
that looks
promises only he
creepy.
could give, and they in return allowed him to return with the science to unlock the mysteries of creation.
Yeah, this looks like an evil dude. Like, here the Emperor looks like a really, really evil dude. Oh god, look at him. He's like looking into your soul and sucking it dry.
This knowledge would enable him to create the demi-godlike figures of the Primarchs. The Emperor, though seemingly lying to the dark gods about his intentions, would then suffer at the hands of their powers, as they scattered the gestating pods of the Primarchs across the galaxy, and they would not be
Perhaps.
reunited with the Emperor until the Great Crusade. Now, these realities only further muddy the water around the Emperor and his true intentions, his foresight and knowledge
Oh, I love
about
that
chaos,
design.
why he would consider such actions as being necessary, or that he could back out of deals made with these gods of the Immaterium, and what his intentions were with regard to his own position within the multi-millennia spanning history of humanity in the dark future. Chaos is the most significant enemy of humanity in the future. The gods of the warp continually sow the seeds of any number of corrupting ways that eat away at our lives and our consciousness. These
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about it. I think Tyranids are I know we're gonna go there, but I just know some stuff about Tyranids already. So I think Tyranids are this creeping terror from the outside, and Chaos Gods are the creeping terror from the inside. That's how I get it. So yeah.
seeds of doubt, of fear, hatred, selfish ambition fester and rot away under the surface of
Foolish
society in the
ambition.
institutions of the Imperium, threatening to eat it alive from the inside out.
Yeah.
The Chaos Gods seek to eternally exert their influence on the mortal realm, on its many races, and allow literal chaos to reign and give them strength for their great game. Interestingly though, the Chaos Gods also have by their nature a symbiotic relationship with the entities of the Materium.
Yeah.
Because the Chaos Gods only gain power through the actions, emotions, and emanations of mortals collectively. So ensuring chaos, unrest, death, destruction, misery, and even hedonistic pleasures are all part of their aims. The total destruction of humanity or all mortal races would not be to their own best interests, whether they're
course
aware
not.
of it or not, or whether they even care about that or not. Without us, they would slowly cease to exist in their current form and would likely dissipate back into the warp until it was again a calm, balanced realm.
Yeah, it's like if they would diminish sentient beings that are like connected to them too much, they would get weaker and weaker and weaker, and then they couldn't influence them anymore. Then the species would multiply again, and it would all start over again. You know what I mean? So it's like a balance. If it's toppled too much, it will just go back. Very cool stuff.
In that respect, races like the Tyranids are far more literally dangerous. However, it is the insidious nature of chaos that makes it so despised. It is so
There
often
she's
not an
again.
enemy in plain sight. It hides, corrupts, and distorts the innocent.
Innocent.
And whether the gods are truly aware of how reliant they are on mortals is another matter. They show little signs of concern for this, and their ongoing battle to destroy and corrupt continues.
I love that picture.
Even ever more severely in the 42nd millennium, now the Great Rift has torn through the galaxy, enabling the forces of chaos to have an ever more violent and invasive capacity.
This looks like an AI generated this. Like, I don't mean that derogatorily to the artist. It's brilliant. Like, I like all these eyes put in here, and this mouth tentacle thing here, and here it is, and what is this, and why does it have whatever. Like, I love this one. This one is so disgusting. Great job, whoever did this.
Now we will further explore the gods and forces of chaos in the future. They stand as the keepers of nightmarish hellscapes that most mortals dare to even imagine. Chaos has already inflicted untold damage on many races in the galaxy, most obviously the Eldar and the Imperium of Man.
Yeah.
And they show no signs of relenting in their ever ongoing quest to dominate all. Yet there is always hope. Always. But the grim darkness of the far future looks ever darker, with the strength and reach of the Chaos Gods being ever more pronounced. But there
Yeah.
are those who care little about the forces of chaos and the gods therein. Creatures like the Orcs and Tyranids. There also remain those like the Eldar and mankind who are all too well aware of the danger that chaos poses to the entire galaxy to turn it into a warped, distorted realm of complete, total and literal chaos.
Yeah.
And then there are the younger races like the Tau, who only now are beginning to understand the true nature of chaos.
Are the Tau connected to chaos as well? I think they are, aren't they, Psychos? I know they are like glass cannons, or they are very squishy and have these drones. But might there be the birth of a Tau chaos god, or like what would be their fault? Their fault might be community. Like they might birth the chaos god of community. Perhaps. I'm not sure, but yeah.
High Inquisitor Bronislaw was once known to have said that if my time in the Black Library taught me anything, it was, controversially, that chaos is already very much part of us. It deals in the currency of mortal souls and feeds off states and emotions that are in essence natural. Without us, there would be no chaos. Good and evil, right and wrong, these are binary oppositions that the inhabitants of this galaxy use to comfort and define themselves. I'm afraid much of the God Emperor's work is done in the grey area in between.
Yeah, that as well. I love that. It's so good. Yeah, of course, it's completely right, I think. Because chaos birthed everything. At least, like, I think every single creation myth has chaos at the beginning and where everything came from. And so it might be that the warp created the universe and not that the universe got inhabited by sentient beings. Like, it might have been the other way around. Who knows?
This is the more truly worrying reality, that humanity is chaos.
Yeah.
And chaos is humanity.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Chaos is the ugly horror of ourselves. It's the side of ourselves we cannot face. It is the darkness that we define upon each other. It is the evil that men do. It is the distilled nature of mortals. The Imperium suffers because of chaos. This will always be so. But humans butcher, torture, repress, abuse, and conspire against one another. Do we do all this because we want it to be so, or do we do this because the dark gods require? Do we know that humanity has free will? Or are we being danced like puppets to the tune and the whispers of the Dark Lords, more powerful than any mortal can understand?
I think it's the other way
Now,
around.
there are always many powerful quotes around the more defined chaos gods of Khorne, Nurgle, and Slaanesh, but I think I would finish with something as Tzeentch would have it, that the Imperium is founded on chaos.
Yeah. So I will like muted because of copyright probably. Let's look at these horror things here. Like we've seen this dude before with his three eyes. So these creatures, we've seen them before in another artwork as well. So then there are perhaps possibly corrupted Legion of Space Marines. I don't know which faction that is. Still don't know the factions. I will go there. This is a woman with great personality, possibly Slaanesh or a priestess of Slaanesh. Might also be a very androgynous man. You know, yeah. And there we have all the stuff. Yeah. We've got all the stuff of chaos. Yeah, that was cool. That was very cool. Today it got a lot more philosophical than I thought it would. I hope you didn't mind. But these topics are very, very interesting. And I mean, they're like literally thousands and thousands and thousands of stories have written on these themes and in philosophy, like good and evil, right and wrong. That's a question, like unbelievably deep question, and I like that it's tackled here in such a visceral and vivid way. And I can't wait to find out more down the line about the factions of chaos, their single gods and stuff like that. But yeah, that was it about chaos. So all you have to do now is to go to the community tab and vote for the next video. Currently, Dark Elder is winning, so if you want Tau and Tyranids, you have to keep voting for those before I close the poll tomorrow at midnight. So yeah, and if you like this reaction, consider liking, subscribing, help grow the channel, and share it as well if people are interested in stuff like this. Um, and yeah, all that's left to say is, oh yeah, also, sorry, one more thing. I got this Elder book, this Necron book that you recommended to me with the infinite whatever, with trimmed, oh god, I don't remember the name. But I have it here. I'm gonna read that down the line. I might read that when I start moving. I'm going to my new workplace where I might have to take the train sometimes, and I can read it there. And I will give you my thoughts on that one, of course, as well. So can't wait for that. And yeah, all that's left to say now is really have a great day and take care of yourself. I hope you are fine, and see you soon. Bye.